We have to make choices and trade-offs when we make these decisions. Government is about that. If we didn't have to make choices and trade-offs, we would just have a menu. I just tick off all the things I like. I would like a more relaxed life. I'd like a higher standard of living. I'd like more space. I'd like more income. We all would like overseas holidays. And you just tick off and it'll be delivered to you. And if you have oil gushing out from the ground, like some countries do, you can tick off quite a lot of things. And you will get your dinner. But in Singapore, there's no oil gushing out from the ground. You have to choose. Every choice you make, there's a trade-off. There's an upside, there's a downside. Doesn't mean it doesn't make a difference. You have to find the right point. But you must decide what is the price are you prepared to pay. So I think the topics for the groups reflected this. Give our best, share our nest. We want each person to work hard, to do well, but at the same time we want to share what we have so those who are not doing so well, they get something too. There are consolation prizes. Meritocracy is a fundamental principle. You cannot turn it upside down because you want good people to be making important contributions. But at the same time, you expect the good people to be serving not just for their own, to be serving for Singapore and not just doing things for their own sake. You want inclusive politics. We try to do that. But we also want decisive government to be able to make a decision and people don't like it, you go. It's not just whether we dare to go or we don't dare to go. It's whether the population accepts that this government is doing it. You may not agree, but he's doing it. He believes he's doing it for the good of Singapore, for the good of Singaporeans. And furthermore, we trust this government. Generally speaking, they have done the right thing. You make mistakes from time to time, but generally speaking, we have done the right thing and our hearts are in the right place. Then you can have decisive government and then you can make the country work. If you don't have that, your government is too brave to say, charge! Nobody is following you. I think you're in serious trouble. So these are the realities of being a governing party. Not just a political party, you have slogans and you sound good, dare to change and you change. But a governing party where what we say, we have to deliver. And so we're very careful what we say, but having said it, we're very conscientious to make sure we make it happen. So we have to think hard. And the party has to think hard, what is its role in the future for the next 20 and 30 years. We have to represent the middle ground of Singapore. It's because we have had a middle ground in Singapore that we are able to have a dominant party and consensus politics. Because more or less in Singapore, whether you are in a 3-room flat or a 5-room flat, whether you are living in Jurong or whether you're living in Changi, you are part of one country and you feel your interests are the same, your identity is about the same. In other countries, it is not like that. In a country like the United States, it's very difficult to find the middle ground. Their politics is having great difficulty working. You have blue states, you have red states. Blue states are where they vote Democrat, left-wing, for President Obama. Red states vote Republican, right-wing, very conservative. They vote Romney, and if they're very, very conservative, Tea Party. And if you look at the map, you know where the blue states are in the Northeast and in California and around Chicago, the Great Lakes. And you know where the red states are. And that's the rest of America, down the south, down the middle, west, Texas, Nebraska, Kentucky, maybe Wyoming, all the middle places. And the blue states have their interests, the red states have their interests, you must choose whom you represent. So if Singapore had the blue constituencies and the red constituencies, I think Singapore will be in trouble. We have tried to make sure that all the constituencies are about the same color. No, about the same color, because we want all the constituencies to share the same interests. then we can think together, and when we represent Singapore, you represent the whole of Singapore. And then you can have the middle ground, and then you can have cohesive politics. But where the middle ground is, I think also depends on us, because the party's role is not just to reflect this consensus of the nation, but also to form and help to shape the consensus of the nation. So we would like to express the aspirations of the people, but we are not just asking people, what are your views, and I will go and I will be your note taker and I will speak on your behalf. I think we have ideals, we have ideas, we have policies, we have proposals. And it's our responsibility to help to lead the discussion together with the people in order to get people, to persuade people to see things more like the way we do, and to be able to see things in a constructive way which makes sense for themselves and for Singapore. Whether you're happy or whether you're not happy partly depends whether you have a roof, whether you have a house, whether you have food, but also depends on how you look at life and how you look at yourself. And if we can persuade people what is necessary is good, that what is necessary will benefit them, that yes, you have to struggle with Mandarin, but when you're 5 years from now, you'll be grateful you have struggled with Mandarin. And you're able to maintain that. Then I think we can shape the national conversation and we can take the country the right direction forward. It's absolutely necessary. It's not politically fashionable to say that I believe in this, let's follow me. It's more politically fashionable to say, I am doing all this because everybody has asked me to say this. And I'm reflecting everybody's views. And I think that we need to reflect people's aspirations and dreams. But if we are just Hao Hao Xian Sheng, whatever people say, you agree with, I think we will be failed leaders. So the PAP's role, the party's role, is to lead Singapore, to lead the population, to persuade people, to support policies which will benefit them, and finally, to win elections. Because if you don't win elections, you can't deliver. And I think in Singapore, if the PAP is not able to deliver, I think the politics will malfunction. Because it is not going to be easy to put together another group to make Singapore work. You look at the difficulty with politics in Japan. Very established country, a deep pool of talent. 60 plus years since the war, stable government growth, transformation. They used to be the second biggest economy in the world, now maybe third after China. But the politics is not working because they have not been able to induct people into the system. The loss of confidence, not just in the governing party, but in the system. LDP failed, they lost. The DPJ took over 3 years ago, 2009. Great hopes that something would happen. Now, 3 years after, there have been 3 prime ministers in 3 years, and Mr. Noda has called elections which are taking place in 2 weeks' time. That's not a working politics. It's not whether the persons are doing the right or the wrong thing, but the system has failed. And in Singapore, we must never let that happen. And that means the PAP must stay strong, must stay vibrant, with members who believe in the cause, who are prepared to serve, and who will fight to win. And I think the last team just now from Central provide us with something which might even be used as a slogan for the next election. He said, 心连心，手牵手，一起走. It's not bad. We have 3 more years to improve on that, and I'm sure we will. But that's a good starting point for us to prepare for 2016. So thank you very much.